Welcome back to the channel, you guys. Today I thought I'd take you along while we install my newest toy thing. It's one of these. Oh, it's big. So this is the Apache 9800 from Harbor Freight. I've had my eye on them for a while because I'm going to use it as a roof case. And they're normally $170. They went on sale at the beginning of February for about $129, $130, which comparing to a Roam or a Pelican case, it's really a good deal. So I'm going to show you how to mount it to a roof rack, and this is how to mount it to a Prinsu or a Front Runner or any of those that have this slide-in bolt system. So let me try to do it easily and completely securely, because I don't know of any way you could undo it without opening the case. So I'm a big fan of keeping things pretty simple. So that's what we're gonna do. So let's throw this up here. So I'm choosing to mount it to my driver's side to kind of line up with this since the awning mounts are on the other side. But I have to decide which crossbars I want it on. I'm gonna hit 4 out of 5 regardless of what I do. So I can center it on my topper here, or I can have it kind of close to the front. But I think we'll probably center it. And then I'm gonna mount onto here and here, these crossbars that go across right here. I don't know if I can leave my garage with it on, so we're gonna test that before I mount it. Whoa. Oh. It's fine. So to keep this incredibly easy for me, I have a silver Sharpie. I'm gonna just sit under here and mark on my underside of my box where the edge of my crossbars are. That way I can flip it over. I know exactly where my bolt holes line up, and I can drill through, and it's nice and easy. At least that's the plan. So here's our marking. One side, you know, there's the edge of the crossbar. Don't worry about this part. I was just 3 years old for a second. And then over here it's in black, which you kind of can't see because I didn't know if my Sharpie was making a mark on it. But obviously it was. So now I take my speed square and I put this up here, and I see I'm 2-inch crossbars with the holes or the tracks lining up at 1/2 inch and 1.5 inch. So I can come down here. I can put this square right on it, and as you can see, it lines up as right at 2 inches. So I just know 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch, and that's it. But I don't even need to do both. I'm just gonna do 1, maybe 2 bolts aside, and we'll go from there. So what I'm doing here is I really don't want to mount my bolts right in the middle of my piece here. I'd rather go towards the outside some. This is where I take my square and I push it up against these things right here, and we just come right across like this, and there's a straight line. Now we have a straight line of our outside. And now I can just take a simple measurement here of 1/2 an inch in. So I can put this level up against here, flush. And then we'll do the same thing over here. Just like that. Now we're going to poke these holes through, and we are going to be using 1/4 inch carriage bolts on my roof rack. So we have a 1/4 inch bit because I want to keep it as tight as possible. So now that the holes are drilled, we want to put it up there and get a test fit on to make sure our holes line up, which they should. For me, with my roof rack, I'll show you real quick. If you have a newer Prinsu, I believe, they have a slot on these tracks here where you can drop attachments in. Mine do not have that because they're from a company called T-Nuts. I'll put a link in the description below if you want to buy just the crossbars. They're like 25 bucks a piece or something like that. This entire roof rack cost me, I think, $140 for the, maybe 150 if that, for my topper. Much cheaper than a Prinsu. But I have to pop these bolts off, pop the crossbar off to slide these bolts in. So I'm gonna do that real quick. Okay, bolts are in. Of course, you can slide these. These are 1/4-inch carriage bolts. You can slide these back and forth depending on where our holes line up. So this part's kind of gonna suck, and I knew it was going to, about lining these holes up. So I'm gonna try to just get one set in first that I can see. Okay, it took a little wiggling because my holes were not perfect, which I had to drill them out to 5/16, and now they fit, and it's nice and tight. So now we're going to take these rubber washers. These are 1/4-inch by 1 1/4 because I knew my hole wasn't going to be perfect, and I thought a wider washer probably doesn't hurt. So now the hard part is done, lining it up. All we gotta do is take these rubber washers and then tighten our bolts. I'm using nylon, whatever you want to call these nuts, because I'm a big fan of them not coming loose. So I've had great experiences with them. I think it looks pretty good. I'm gonna remove that label, and actually, you know, while I have you here, let's try and do it together. I tried earlier, and as you can see, it started picking because they're using the wrong type of label. But it's Harbor Freight, it's cheap, it's kind of what we expect. Okay, now that it is installed, let's talk about some of the pros and cons. Number one is price. This case cost me $129 from Harbor Freight. It is water resistant. This doesn't come with struts, so it is manual open close. I think I'm probably going to install some struts because they're like $10 on Amazon. They're very cheap. So I might do that just to make this a little easier on myself. I think it looks pretty good. I'm gonna remove that label. You know, while I have you here, let's try and do it together. So a good way to remove labels is with heat. So get yourself a heat gun and go to town. See, right there, needs more heat. And just like that, stickers are gone. There's a tiny bit of residue you can see, but I don't really care, it doesn't matter. So, with that being said, I'd like to thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. This whole setup cost about $135, well, after taxes, depending on whatever, like 140 bucks, okay? So much cheaper than a Roam. We'll see how it holds up. I've heard good things about these cases, so I'm not too worried, and really it's just gonna be going through rain. So I'm kinda optimistic. But I'd like to thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out.